So we're studying Vibhishan Gita because it's part of the Ramayana and we want to go back so that we haven't missed anything that way when we were speeding through the Ramayana and focusing on the story. Also gives us an opportunity to reflect on the teachings in a more focused way. So, but also I was, Vibhishan Gita is in the mission, it's pretty much known as a chick text, means a youth text. All youth camps, usually people's first youth camp was Vibhishan Gita. And so actually I haven't done it like this in a weekly class with adults because it's chick text. But the other day I was talking to Mom and Swamiji had done it in Melbourne, and then my nieces heard it, and then Dad pulled out his notes, and then my sister didn't write notes. And then my nieces pulled out their notes, and they were doing this whole big family discussion, and Dad was saying how it's like the text that sets you up for life. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it's not just a chick text because, he's definitely not chick. But it's definitely a foundation level text in the sense that it's titled The Chariot of Success because the way Ramchandraji talks about, so the incidents where we at in the Ramayana is that the war is about to start and Ramchandraji is standing on the ground, bare feet, with just his bow and arrow, still dressed in his bark clothes. And the part of the exile, there's rules. Like who knew there were rules to exile? I guess even today now there is, right? And it was he couldn't enter a city. So the war, of course, had to be outside of Lanka because he couldn't enter the city. And that's why Hanumanji had gone as a messenger, and Angad went as a messenger. Even Lakshman went into the city to kill Indrajit when he was doing his tapas. But Ramji never steps into the city, even when they were in Kishkinda. Lakshman goes into the city, but Ramchandraji doesn't. And so he's still in his bark clothes, he's bare feet, he's standing on the floor with his bow and arrow, which is already a very mighty weapon. But then Ravana comes onto the battlefield and he's in this huge chariot and he's got full-on armor and the kavacha, the shields, those, all those, like the padding to make sure nothing hits and penetrates through it. And he's wearing his gold crown and his gold bracelets and earrings. And for a moment, Vibhishan looks at the scene and he sees Ravana's like, I guess in terms of equipment, so well equipped and looking like a king. And here Ramchandraji is standing bare feet on the floor with nothing, matted hair and his bow and arrow. And he's like, are you sure you should fight? Like Ravana is like so much better positioned than you are. Maybe you shouldn't fight. And actually, if you say this to someone when they're just about to go and do something important, it's very discouraging. Right? Like imagine if you're just about to go into a meeting and I'm like, did you do the presentation properly? Like, did you check it? Did you run it past someone? And then you're like there wasn't a doubt in your mind, but now suddenly one is placed. And that sometimes in sports nowadays, and even in corporate world, they actually use that as a strategy to defeat the opponent. Because our frame of mind is everything. But Ramchandraji understood that Vibhishan wasn't saying this. In a way, it could be, right? Vibhishan is Ravana's brother. It could have been seen that he was helping his brother win. But it was more the point of view of he had so much love for Ramchandraji and he felt it was so unfair. Like you should also have a chariot. You should also have the kavacha and the protections, and you should also have all that. And then it's unfair that you don't, and you at this disadvantage. And then Ramchandraji sings the Vibhishan Gita because it's being taught by Ramchandraji to Vibhishan. And he describes the chariot that he has. And so obviously it's not a physical chariot. It's a chariot made up of all these virtues and values. And the reason it's called Chariot of Success is because one, Ramchandraji wins the war. And so his chariot was far more efficient, effective in gaining victory and so success. But in terms of life, this is the qualities that we need for success. And maybe that's why it's such a foundation level book. And maybe that's why I've like not really done it in an level class before, because some people will think it's very Balvihar, very preliminary. But the thing is, it's a very, I can do. Like we're doing Mandukya Upanishad, and then sometimes people wonder, but what do you do? Like nothing, don't do anything. Like the world's not real, don't do anything. There's nothing to do except to understand that the world's not real. But when you pick up something like Vibhishan Gita, there's a very solid, concrete things that we can do. And up to us to how much we want to master it. And even just one quality that we pick up from this book. And then if we make it our lifelong sadhana, that's really the aim, to make it our lifelong sadhana. So it is a foundation level book, and definitely worth our attention. And I guess because I personally heard it so many times in my journey that I neglected to teach it so many times. Because I traveled with Vijay Guruji, and then I had it from him at least 2 or 3 times that trip. And Swamiji loves doing it, so I heard it at least 2 or 3 times from Swamiji. And in fact, if you go to my bookshelf, there's like 3 versions that are signed copies, because at different times I have done this text with both Swamiji and Guruji. And so lots of reflection has happened on it, and it's nice for me to be able to come back and reevaluate all those reflections. Okay, so we'll start with the actual text. And it's in the Ramayana Gita. There's the invocation describing the scene that I have already just told you about, the Ravana's description. And then the actual Vibhishan Gita is Sauraja Dhiraja Tahirata Chaka Satyashila Drida Dvaja Pataka. So that's the first line. And every word is a quality. And so the chaka, meaning the wheels of this chariot, is made up of Sodaj and Dheeraj. So slightly different ways of explaining it, but one is Dheeraj is bravery, courage, but it's also this ability to keep going. And sometimes it gets translated as patience. And so this ability to be brave, the wheels of the chariot that lead us to success is the ability to be brave. And here this so much of our life is governed by fear. And so even earlier today, people were talking about spiritual communities in Hong Kong. There's so many. And then sometimes they maybe not everyone would consider them to be spiritual. And we have different gradations of what is spiritual. Can be open to interpretations at times. And people will seek, but there's also fear to let go of what they already know. Or even I have noticed, fear of accepting somebody as a guru is huge. Like commitment phobia at a whole new level. In Hong Kong, we already have commitment phobia that they don't want to agree to come to an event. There's too much commitment to, say, yes, I'm coming to this event. So commitment in a relationship, all the more. And then to guru, like then that's lifetimes. No. It's not one person though. Guru is not a person. But still, of course, there's a living master from whom we're teaching, and that so much fear to bow down to someone. And in a way, I can understand it. Because you like, is this the right word? I mean, people think that when they're getting married also, right? Like, is this the right word? Like, I don't know. There's so many other people there. Like, maybe someone else is better out there. And I guess the same kind of thought process is going to go into Guru. And so fear to even embrace that. What? A teacher, a path. Fear to be committed to something, and fear to let go of what was comfortable. Even as simple as if I say, wake up half an hour earlier every day to do your japa, you'll say, that's not fear, that's laziness. Yeah, sure, I agree. Lots of laziness also. But if you really look at it, there'll be an element of fear also. Like, do I want to become that person who's like so responsible and so committed and so disciplined? It's like, no. It's too much of a commitment to be that person. So it's not even just laziness of not waking up. It's laziness of stepping up in terms of who I am, because then I have to own and be that person. And so fear. And then, okay, that's just the spiritual pursuit. And then naturally we'll see fear in every single line. One of the funniest things when I first moved to Hong Kong was if I told someone, come for a class, they would say, but, I'll have to find a friend to come with me. And then I would be looking at this person and they're like 40 years old and 50 years old. And I'm thinking, you still need a friend to come to the class with? So it's and they thought I was very bizarre that I didn't understand that they needed a friend to come. Because of course you need a friend. You don't go somewhere alone. And I was coming from Australia at that point in my life where, of course, you go alone. Like friend is just bonus if they're there. Otherwise, you just go. Yeah. Like even you really want to do something, but if you're doing it alone, fear. It can penetrate so many aspects of our lives. Of course, we are already fully aware of fear in relationships because we can get hurt and we do get hurt. And so then naturally there's fear. Fear in terms of changing careers, changing countries, changing. It's almost a constant. What we fear may change, but that we feel fear is almost a constant. And it's not meant to be. It's meant to be like a beep on the phone. When the ting comes on the phone, what does that purpose serve? Pay attention to this message. Actually, phone is a bad example. Don't pay attention to the message. But the purpose of the phone pinging is to let you know that there's something that has come. What is fear? The same thing. It's a ping. Notice, is it dangerous? Not dangerous? Let it go. It's not meant to be a constant. And yet, it's a constant. And so Suraj is this quality of courage. And courage is our stepping stone to fearlessness. And so to get straight to fearlessness, it's like, it's like when somebody has a fear and you say, don't be scared. That's like silly. It's like so nonsensical. We all do it. I have done it at least 3 gazillion times. I'm totally guilty of it. But if someone's scared, saying don't be scared serves no purpose whatsoever. Right? Don't, because they're already feeling it. You can't say don't be scared. I mean, you can say it, but it's ineffective. Um, and when we say to other people, don't be scared, what we're really saying is that you don't have a reason to be, which is a mind frame of fearless. Or is fearless a mind frame of there might be a reason to be scared, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. In today's world, I don't know. Just not having fear might be fearless, because pretty much everyone, anything and everything we do can be perceived as a threat, socially or in terms of it, because it's constant. Okay, so how debilitating to have that there as a constant. And fear does fight, flight, and freeze. And since it's not really something we can fight, usually, often, things that we are scared of, we can't fight it. Like lion in the jungle, cannot fight. I mean, we can fight lion in the jungle, but we cannot fight somebody laughing at us or somebody making us feel not as worthy. We cannot fight with going into the relationship. We want the relationship to work and maybe they're going to reject me. We can't fight with all these things. And then flight also doesn't serve a purpose, because we want the relationship, we want the promotion, we want the result of getting up early and doing the japa. So flight is not an option, fight is not an option. So then what do we end up doing? Freeze. Fear makes us stuck. And so we might be moving about, doing lots of things, but stuck in that fear. Freeze is you get stuck in the feeling of the fear, and which is why it's a constant, because we've become very stuck in the feeling of fear. And then courage. Courage is don't listen to the fear. Such an interesting thing, huh? That we can listen to it or not listen. I'll give you I don't know if it's a good example, but if the traffic light is red, listen to it, right? Yes? And then if it's black rainstorming and nobody's there and traffic light is red, don't listen to it. She's like you and I'll come, listen to it. There's people who still listen, huh? Yeah, I know you're nodding. I know you listen. I won't listen. I'm not saying be like me. I'm not saying be like me. If there's no cars on the road, then the red traffic light is not serving a purpose. If there's cars on the road, red traffic light is serving a purpose, listen. There's no cars on the road. What are you waiting for? Like, why are you standing there in the rain for the light to turn green? To me, it makes no sense. Don't listen. Walk. Cross. Get to wherever you want to get to and get out of the rain. Sometimes you can just not listen. So in our head, fear, freeze. Just don't listen. Yes, it serves a purpose. When there is a danger and you're supposed to be still, be still. But if there's no danger, don't be still. Just keep going. Don't listen to the warning. This is actually quite revolutionary when I came upon it. You just don't have to listen to your thoughts. Because what we usually feel is, if I'm thinking it, it's true. But it's not. It's just a thought. It's not a truth. is just a thought. But we're so used to, if I think it, then it's true, and I have to believe it. But it's not. Like most of y'all know, shouldn't take any. Auntie Jean, the ashram, who is here regularly, and the first time she said to me, "Do you know there's fake news?" It was mind-blowing to her that people can put up things on the intellect that are fake. We all know this. But imagine if you just believed everything, which so many of us do, huh? Even though we know there's fake news, we still believe so much of what's there. Even though we know they're manipulating our thinking by putting things up, we still believe so much of what we hear. But we can just not listen because it's not true. Our own thoughts. We have conditioned and trained ourselves to listen to our thoughts. Courage is not listening. My thoughts are telling me there's a danger. No, there isn't. Sometimes my thoughts will be screaming, there's a danger. No, there isn't. And the best example of this is bungee jumping. Have you all been bungee jumping? Some of you all have been. So if you go bungee jumping and you're standing on that ledge of whatever it is, where they're going to tell you to jump off, every cell in your body is screaming, do not jump. Every single, and doesn't matter how brave you are, huh? Every cell in your body is telling you, don't jump. And I love telling this story and embarrassing my sister. When we went bungee jumping for the first time, the guy said to her, you can do this and you're going to amazing. Look at the camera. And then 3, 2, 1, jump. She looked at him and she said, I'm not stupid. Because that's what you're thinking. Because our self-preserve instinct will totally tell you not to jump. But you tried, and the company has very good safety records. And you saw them do a good job of tying it. And so what do you have to do to that every cell in your body telling you not to jump? You have to not listen. You have to override it with jump. You know you don't pay fully for the bungee jumping when you sign up, because something like 50% of people don't jump. So you pay a deposit, then only when you actually jump, you pay the rest, because they know. Because courage is not listening to your brain that's telling you flight. In this case, it's flight. If your brain says fight in a situation of fear, then please fight, not otherwise. Don't fight with people otherwise. But in a situation of fear, like fight will be like, with some disease, and then you fight and you make yourself better, or rainstorm, and then you have to hold on to something and you fight to hold on, and then do all of that. So if fear is ever telling you fight, fight. But not social fear of climbing social ladder or fighting with someone so you get your way. Not that. Actual life threatening. Then we fight. But so often when fear is telling us flight, we shouldn't. Because staying is growth. And flight makes us weaker. And the simplest example of this is like if you go to gym or a yoga pose, and then it's like, ouch, and you want to get out of the pose because uncomfortable. Danger? No, no danger. And so that's why we need trainer, because if on our own, we'll get out of the pose. But trainer looks at you with big eyes and you stay in the pose. We override our thought that tells us to look for comfort, because staying in the discomfort is growth. We can see it so easily with exercise. Staying in discomfort is making me stronger. So, my thought. Courage is staying in the fear, not running away. And if we stay in it, often enough, courage becomes habit and fear becomes weak. If we give in to fear, fear becomes strong and mind becomes weak. This is interesting and important to understand. And so every time we have fear, that's our choice. Make mind strong or make fear strong. And of course, we just human and sometimes we give in to fear. Of course, I understand. But the purpose of courage is to not give in to the fear, to just be there and say, it's not true. What you're saying is not true. Like when you're bungee jumping. Don't jump, it's not true. It's not true that I shouldn't. I can jump. I'm safe. If the bungee is not there, then please don't jump. Then we should listen, right? And so that's the thing. The part of us that can override fear is intellect, not mind. Courage comes in the intellect. I understand that there's no actual danger. Sometimes there's no actual danger, or sometimes there is a possible danger, but I can deal. So often in life, there is a potential danger, but I'll deal. Like, you see these people who do stand-up comedy, they might fall flat on their face. Well, like nobody's going to laugh at them, but they get up there and they do it. And just deal with not being laughed at, or deal with being ridiculed, or deal with being insulted, or deal with whatever it is that we have to deal with. So what's courage? Holding on to, I'll deal. I'll get through this. And not giving into the fear, making the mind strong. And so when we really understand it, it's definitely a foundation of how to live, right? Because it's so many times in the day, fear is going to crop up. Say this, don't say this. Do this, don't do this. Think this. Don't think this. So courage is being able to withstand fear until it becomes a habit, and then I don't even feel I'm being courageous. And so sometimes we look at other people and we'll say, you're so brave. You just went and spoke to that person. Yeah. Wait, it didn't feel like I was being brave. Like, you just talk to people. What's wrong with talking to people? But how? You remember that I think I was working on the kids' books, and I needed a printer, I needed an artist, I needed a designer, I needed, and so you just meet people and talk to them. And then somebody said, But you didn't know them. You just went and spoke to them. And I thought that's just such a bizarre thing. Why would you not talk to someone because you don't know them? How are you going to get to know them? Yet somebody else perceived it as courageous. But the only reason it was because I've done it so much that I don't even see it as courage anymore. It's just do it. And that's the beautiful thing about continuously practicing courage. It just becomes normal. Courage becomes normal. It's not that fear totally disappears, but courage becomes default setting. Like even if there is little bit fear, like, oh, a new person, it doesn't last long. We just push through it so quickly until fearless. Until it gets to a point there isn't even any more fear. And then it's not that you just become completely fearless, maybe just fearless in that talking to people, but you might still fear disease, or you may be fearless in terms of dealing with disease, but still fear with relationships. So different things, right? Like you see people who get diagnosed sometimes with some disease, and then they completely at peace with the threat of disease. And fearless, like when it comes, it comes. But so ideal here is to have courage, fearlessness, courage, fearlessness, and only look at fear as an alert. If it needs to be attended to, we attend to it. Otherwise, not attend to it. So courage. And then in the spiritual journey here, because remember, this is in all walks of life, we need this quality of courage. But here in the spiritual journey, the courage is who I am is comfort zone. I think this way. So right now there's this trend going around with star signs. So star signs and Indian food, star signs and babies, star signs. And you haven't seen this trend? Astronomy, astrology, revisiting. It goes through fashions, right? When astronomy is more in fashion and then when it's not in fashion. So it's come back. Astronomy definitely more in vogue at the moment. And then it's interesting how people will be like, well, that's just me. I'm just a Cancerian. That's just me. I'm just a Libra. That's just me. And way of, I guess, in a way, identifying and creating who we are. So we become very comfortable with this image of ourselves. I am, and then whatever you want to put. Shy, introverted, extroverted, responsible, organized, carefree, spontaneous, go with the flow kind of person, whatever you want to. I am. And then we put this label of who I am. To change that label takes immense courage. Because our sense of self is so automated. So it's not a pleasant thing to think about, but if you see now with diseases like Alzheimer's and dementias, think of somebody who's woken up every morning and then part of the way that they make themselves. This is the way self-image gets created. I wake up in the morning and I have a memory of everything I am. So I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm a person who belongs to the whatever club, play mahjong, don't play mahjong, whatever my description of what myself is. And then you see these people now, they wake up one morning and then a whole chunk of their memory is gone. And so one day they wake up in the morning and I'm a mom. And the next day they wake up in the morning and I'm not a mom. Because there's no memory. They have no memory of the kids and being a mom. I know, not very easy for the kids, but for her or him, they fine, huh? Because it doesn't exist. So one day you can wake up and be a mom. The kids are still there, and the next day you can wake up and you're not a mom because that bit of your memory just didn't exist. And this is like the biggest proof that we are creating our self-image of who we are every moment. Definitely every morning when we wake up. It's our memory that helps us create who we are. And so in my memory, I am introverted, extroverted, shy, emotional, sentimental, logical, organized, whatever it is that I am. And then every morning when I wake up, I say it again, I am. And all the bad things also, huh? It's not like I'm only saying all the wonderful, beautiful things about me. That is like an affirmation. It's not even affirmation. It's like a truth. Yeah. And so I wake up and I say I'm an anxious person and I am a forgetful person. I am moody. I am cranky. I am stubborn. We say all of that. It's not like we're saying it. It's just like we thought it yesterday. And so we just copy paste. So today is a new document, but what we do, copy paste. Whatever was there yesterday, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But somebody who's having a kid for the first time, right? There is no kid, they are just single, and one day they wake up and then I am me. Next day they wake up, I am pregnant. Suddenly self-image changed. Then 9 months later, I am mom. Like, wow. But then I copy paste mom, mom. But the fact that I wasn't and I am means I can change it. Change what? I am can be changed because I changed it. Can see where I'm going with this, right? If I wasn't mom yesterday and then baby came out and I'm mom today, means from yesterday till today, I can change it. But it changed because something happened. But even without something happen, I can change it. Why do I have to wait for something happen to change it? Oh yeah, I can't suddenly say I'm a mom if there's no kid there. But get some. But from patient, or rather from impatient, I can change to patient. From stubborn, I can change to open. I'm not even saying flexible, just open. Then maybe I can even get to flexible. But it takes a long time. No. Did it take long for that person to forget 30 years of their life? And did it take long to go from not being mom to mom? Then why it has to take long? So I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Tomorrow morning, don't paste. Don't copy. Fresh document, you decide who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Anyways, you're recreating it. Every morning, you're recreating it. Actually, never mind morning, every moment, moment to moment, we recreating it. And why we just keep copy paste, copy paste? Because we're scared to change it. And so look how important fear is. Look how debilitating fear is. And so the necessity for courage. Tomorrow, try. You know, Gurudev has written this amazing I love you letters where he says, give, give, give love. Don't worry if people give back. Just go out and give. And so the next morning after hearing the class, people will go out and give. And then something will happen. And then they get wounded, sad, hurt, rejected, insulted, laughed at. Next morning, go back to don't give. It's not that we don't change. We just run back to comfort zone so quickly. Courage is all those thoughts that are not serving me, don't listen. There's this very cute story. There was two frogs and they had fallen into this ditch. And it was quite a deep ditch. Yeah? And so they were jumping, frogs jump. They were jumping to try and jump out of the ditch so that they can be. And jumping. And then all the other frogs were sitting around. And then they said, you know, it's too deep. It's too deep. You're not going to be able to do it. It's useless. I don't think you can do it. You should just not bother. You're just going to exhaust yourself. Instead, preserve your energy and try and sustain yourself while there. We'll throw you down some food. Don't do it, you know. Conserve your energy. And so one of them stopped jumping, tried to conserve his energy. The other one kept jumping. And after hours and hours and hours, managed to jump out. And when he jumped out, everyone was like, wow, you actually jumped out. We're amazed. And he said, no, I have to thank you all. Y'all were cheering me along. And they were like, no, we weren't. We were telling you not to do it. And he's like, oh, I guess I am a bit deaf then. He didn't really hear them. He just saw their actions. He assumed they were cheering him on. And so he kept going. But the one who could hear clearly stopped, gave up, died in the ditch. What's this noise that's telling us to keep doing everything? Our own thoughts, not people. I don't blame people in the world. Our own thoughts. You can't do this. You're not good enough. Don't do it. You'll get hurt. People will laugh. People will reject you. People will do this. And our own thoughts. What? Don't listen. Be like that frog. Don't listen. Oh, I thought you were encouraging me. And you know, now in psychology, they've done so many tests. I don't know how this is ethical. Really don't know how it's ethical. Where they teaching kids how to play some particular sports and you encourage them and they actually do better. And if you discourage them, they give up. They give up the sports. So many videos of it on YouTube that you can watch. And it's just basically because when we start thinking something, we believe it. But because we're thinking it, doesn't mean it's true. And so what's courage? Don't listen to fear. Fear does have a purpose, and we've done this before, so I don't need to elaborate too much on it. Fear definitely serves a purpose, and intellect will tell you when it's serving a purpose. And if we have to flight, then flight. We have to fight, then we fight. But freeze is just suffering. Freeze is so much suffering. And people will often ask about hell. We have this Garud Purana that people read. They want to know if it's all true. Well, hell definitely exists. And being in there, stuck in freeze, in fear, is definitely hell. And so, courage. Courage for me to get myself out of hell. Here, now. I myself can get out of the hell. By courage. And so where does courage come from? Where does it come from? Y'all tell me quickly. Faith definitely helps. Faith does give a lot of courage. Knowledge. Yep. Anything else? Anger. Yeah, I guess anger could help you get out of fear. It wouldn't be my go-to solution, but yeah. Huh? Love. Love definitely gives us a lot of courage. Yes.
Strong desire.
A strong desire gives us courage. It's true. Desire gives us lots of courage. But be careful what you desire. Right. So let's look at each one of them. A strong desire may not be always a worthwhile solution, except if that desire is for improving, right? Like strengthening mind instead of strengthening fear. That's my desire. I want to be able to strengthen mind. I want to be able to see divinity. I want to be able to be more successful. So yes, desire. And then choosing what it is I desire and hold on to that desire, that will bring a mindset of courage. What was the other one? Love. Love can be a little bit tricky also, because you can't force love. Well, you can. It takes practice. You can't force love. You can't force the other person to love you. You can force yourself to love. But more than forcing yourself to actually feel, what you'll be doing is forcing yourself to think. And so it comes more to knowledge. So they called the lower, I don't know if it's physically true, in psychology they use this, the lizard brain, and then the middle brain, and then the higher cognitive functions are all in this part of the brain. I don't know how much importance to give that, even though I'm a psychology student. But there is a part of our brain which is instinct driven, which is being called the lizard brain, right? And it will only follow instinct. And then we have higher cognition, which gives you reason. So this is that, going back to that bungee jumping example, that I am safe. Even though instinct tells me I am not safe, I am safe. Or I've seen it with kids when they're watching these 3D movies. Have you seen in these 3D movies, something is coming out at you? And so usually these kids have watched it 2-3 times. And so then they're waiting for you to react to it. And then they make themselves not flinch. Because when something's coming out of you, natural instinct is you flinch. And then they laugh. When you flinch, they laugh at you because you know, you got tricked by the 3D movie. So higher cognition can override instinct. Instinct will be to flinch. Higher cognition, there's nothing there. Don't flinch. Yeah. In so many ways. The way it's actually set up is something like the door bangs, we get startled. And then we realize wind, door bang, nothing to worry about. Cancel. Higher cognition overrides the instinct of what has happened. So here, higher cognition is understanding. The understanding of, in the greater scheme of things, why am I scared and what purpose is it serving? Sometimes the purpose it is serving is just completely social. Right? What will people think? And we all will care. But in the greater scheme of things, how much importance do I really want to give that? Because unless we consciously choose, we'll go to default setting. Because remember, in our mind, what are we doing? Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And so maybe grandparents cared what people thought, and then parents cared what people thought. And so now you also care what people think. And you never changed it. You just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. But higher cognition is now sit and think. How much are you going to care? And maybe you choose to care still. Sometimes we should, sometimes we shouldn't. I'm not saying we should never care what people think. Sometimes we should. Sometimes they are our well wishers and they telling us something, and it's for our own good only. So sometimes we should care what they think about us. But sometimes, higher cognition means, number one, the understanding to make the decision, and two, being present to make the decision. So what is instinct? We just act. Doorbell. There's no conscious choice. What is higher cognition? We stop reaction and make conscious choice. So standing on the ledge for bungee jumping, instinct would be step back off the ledge. But to actually jump, you have to step forward. It has to be a conscious choice. You cannot accidentally bungee jump. It has to be a conscious choice. And it's illegal for them to push you. So it has to be you choosing. Unless Swamini Supriyananda's there, then he'll push you. But it's illegal, so they don't allow him to. Okay, so what's higher cognition? When I'm making a choice. And what's instinct? When I'm just acting. Okay? What's higher cognition? When I understand reasoning and I choose not to listen to what my own thoughts are saying. And this is important because we always feel we have to change the thought. Not necessarily. We can just not listen to it, like that red traffic light. The context, only during rainstorm warning and there's no cars on the road. Then you don't have to listen to it. I can't think of a better example, but you know what I mean. Or like those frogs that were discouraging the frog to jump. Don't listen. And you just keep trying. So we don't always have to change the thought in our head. We can just not listen to it. Because when we don't listen to it, it becomes weaker. When we listen to it, that thought becomes stronger. When we don't listen to it, we're less likely to copy-paste. And when we do listen to it, we're far more likely to copy-paste. And rethink it and make it a part of myself, identity. It is who I am. And so when we think about courage, it's not just, being a soldier going off into war or bungee jumping or something that's an adrenaline rush. Courage is me sitting here choosing to change the way I think, thereby changing the way I see who I am. And without this courage, we cannot go from Jivatma Bhav, which is what we think we are right now, to Aham Brahmasmi. Because if we just keep copy pasting, this is who I am, then who I am is limited entity. Limited entity. Even if I change, today I'm patient, tomorrow I'm impatient. Go back to being patient. Go back to being impatient. So I've changed. No, not really. Limited patience, limited impatience, limited patience, limited impatience. What am I? Infinite. And so infinitely patient. And then no need for impatience, just efficient. Which is so different from patience, impatience, patience, impatience. Then in infinity, patience is just acceptance. It will change when it changes. And impatience is not needed. Just do whatever needs to be done. But that jump starts with slowly changing to incorporate in my self-identity of me being anxious person to become me being courageous. Sauraja, Dhiraja. Right? These are the two qualities that the wheel has. This quality of courage and dhrida. Dhrida is fortitude. It's this ability to keep going. Which, if we define what's a strong mind, then definitely it would be the ability to keep going. Courage is also a strong mind. But more than courage, the ability to keep going is dhrida. So most people already know this fact. Gym memberships are the highest in. How long do they go to the gym after making the membership in January? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Maybe the whole month. But by Feb, usually back to normal. All new people you see around in the gym in Jan. I don't know if that's true for India because we have New Year every few months. But there's still that, the January to December time. We'll also see this. We do every January a health challenge, meditation challenge, forgiveness challenge. And I can see views. The first day will get something like 2,000 views. By the 20th day, 80 views. Even we did Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam was only 7 days. Not a whole month. It was 1 week. The number of views on the first video, the number of views on the last video. I haven't checked recently, but the first video I think went up to like 4,000. And the last video will be like 100. Dhrida. What is dhrida? Seeing it through. To keep going. It's incredible how in such small ways we don't do it. Definitely with exercise, it can be seen. But where it's going to really matter, right? So remember what we're doing is we're changing who we are. So if I see myself as someone who's impatient, I'm going to now change. And I'm going to be someone who's patient. Now this needs dhrida. 2 years later, I should still be patient. 3 years later, I should still be patient. And then 4 years later, the person will come to me and say, how long I should keep being patient? Guruji tells this joke of this kid came back home with a black eye. And so his dad looked at him and said, didn't I tell you to count till 20 before you do anything? And he said, yes, I was counting. But his dad told him only to count till 10. How long should I wait? Nobody else is waiting. Even with something like if I say do japa every day, some people do. How consciously, I don't, but they do. Even that many don't. They'll do it for 3 days, then it will stop. Then they'll do it for 3 days, then maybe 1 month, then they'll stop. Then they'll start again, then they'll stop again. Just like the exercise thing, right? Or diet. It's very normal pattern of human behavior. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And then no consistency means that the growth will be very, very slow. But any japa you do is good. Even if you do it only 2 times a year, it's very good. Keep doing it. 2, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. It's still very good. But we ourselves know that when we do something regularly, it becomes automatic, becomes second nature. And then when it's a quality like patience, or a quality like courage, or a quality like cheerfulness, Gurudev used to say, the quality we should be practicing the most is cheerfulness. You have to be consistent because you're cheerful, hi, and then it doesn't work, right? Dhrida, you have to keep that quality going all through the day and then my whole life. Wow, that's a lot of dhrida. Because the minute we stop, it no longer exists in my perception of who I am. Remember, we're recreating. Right now, we're recreating ourselves moment to moment without consciously noticing what we're creating. And so it's just copy. But when we consciously choose, we have to still recreate it. And it might get to a point where it gets recreated automatically. Second nature. And then we find. But till it gets to that point, we have to consciously create it. Like when people are changing their accents to be able to sound more clear, speakers or teachers, or when sports people are consciously changing their posture, dancing, models. It has to be conscious, until they're walking like models even on the street. Because it's become second nature. Yeah. And that dhrida to keep it until it becomes. And with qualities, because instinct is inbuilt, that dhrida with creating a quality to override instinct is effort. And then instincts not serving us, because instinct will help us look for comfort and easy. That's what instinct is built in to do, right? Look for comfort, look for what's easy. It's higher cognition that understands that harder means growth. It's higher cognition that understands that comfort is going to cause weakness. And so that dhrida is that resilience to not give back into instinct. lower thinking. Okay, so we've just done today courage, one wheel of our chariot. I might go faster with some qualities, but this one's a really important because really it's very unfortunate that fear has become a constant in our lives. And causing so much levels of suffering from individual to individual. Any questions?
Keep going. Our voices on the outside telling us, I don't think you can. Like, even
The frogs.
the frogs. So
Yeah.
he couldn't hear.
Yeah.
He probably would have stopped as
The
well.
one who listened gave up. Yes, the frog who was discouraged and he took it to heart and yeah.
Not let it, because we can't control what other people say.
Yeah. We can't. You know, in the technique called NLP, there's a technique where we change our thinking using specific techniques. So there's many voices in our head. Our own voice, but many voices. Like even you will have the voice encouraging you, and we also have a voice discouraging us. Our own voice, not anybody else's voice. Yeah. You make one, like when you see a soundboard where they mix music, and they can make one voice louder. Have you seen that? And then you make the others softer. Then you can turn at which point in the music you want this one's to be louder, at which ones you want this. It's very cool how you can do that with technology now. So in this technique, you choose a voice and you make it loud. Then you choose the other voices, make them soft. And you have to do it a few days. And then your mind will understand which voice you should listen to. The voice you want to listen to, make that voice the loudest in your own head. And then there's that loop function. Loop. And the other voices fade out. But you have to sit and do it like a visualization for a few days until your mind has understood that that's what you're programming it to do. Just like you program computers and all of that, we can program our own minds. We're very intelligent. You give it indication and it will understand.
Swamiji, you mentioned about how we can redefine our identity every day, start new with a new born for this is. The question that comes to mind is that our past defines us very strongly. Our past defines our presence. That connection is really strong. How do we detach ourselves from that connection to start with that new thought?
It's not serving me. So much of my past is not serving me. It's defining me. It's not serving me. It's like sometimes you go into somebody's house and then there's just so much stuff there. It's not being used. Just because it's there in my thinking doesn't mean it's being used in any way efficiently or serving any purpose. Throw. So many thoughts we've collected, right? And they're just there. Cluttering our thinking. Delete, 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 delete. My favorite thing to do. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit kabhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityormamritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.